Hey, it's Coach Jamila, and we are talking about journaling. If you haven't had an opportunity to look at my 7-day Love Yourself Again Self-Care Challenge playlist, in there, it's a series, a self-guided really challenge on focusing on self-care. I did it earlier in this year with a couple of different groups of women, but I put it all on here so you could go through it at your own pace. But one of those videos actually talks about journaling. And so today I'm going to be kind of expounding on that a little bit more. Now, first of all, I do want to thank you for pushing play on this video and would like to ask that you please click subscribe. And if at the end of this video you enjoyed the content, please give me a thumbs up. So let's get into it. So I've been journaling since I was a little girl. When I was in like first grade, I remember I really wanted, it was like this little pink Cabbage Patch Kids diary that I got, my aunt bought me. And I would write in it, all the time, almost every day, and I would literally write like Dear Diary and just chronicling all the highs and lows of my life, as an elementary school child, and once that book filled up, then, I got another diary. And so really journaling is something that I've done throughout my entire life. Now, there have been large gaps and periods in my adult life where I have not journaled or written anything down. But pretty much throughout my childhood and teenage years, I journaled all the time. But the reason why it's such a beneficial practice is that it really allows you to, in a sense, empty your mind or empty your brain and get your emotions out of your head and onto paper or work through different things. And so if you're new to journaling or if you're a little rusty, I wanted to give you some suggestions and tips and really encouragement to get back into it and how you can do it with ease so that it's not something that just feels so foreign. So first of all, I think the reason why as adults we tend to drop off doing it is just because by the time we get to the end of our day, sometimes we're tired, we don't feel like it, and it's like, we're in the age of, everything is so fast with typing. And I personally, because I've journaled on the computer and journaled, handwritten, and I personally feel that your journal should be handwritten. I think typing on the computer and saving it, there's just something there that's not, you can't drive the pen into the paper, when you're angry and then go back and see the emotion, and how you wrote those letters out. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. There's just something, in my opinion, very therapeutic about, writing in with your own handwriting. Now, I don't want to have to start this video over again. So I'm just going to go turn the flame down on these organic peas that I'm cooking for my son. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so journaling, yes. What are my tips? So first of all, it's something that you want to make sure you're doing every day. I encourage you to do it really before you go to bed. Why? Because at the end of the day, that's when you kind of have everything that's happened to you, all your thoughts and things, you can just empty them out onto the page. Now, I recommend that the best way to start your journaling experience every evening is to think about those things that you're grateful for and list those, if only like maybe 2 or 3 things. You don't have to try to come up with a laundry list if it's a challenge at first, but eventually, the longer you spend dwelling on those things that you're grateful for or thankful for at the end of the day, the better mindset you're going to be in when you go to sleep. And then it'll even help to put you in a different state of mind so that when you do get to venting those problems and frustrations, you may find that as you're writing them down, you're coming up with solutions or realizations or new perspectives on what has happened. So that's why it's so important to start with gratitude. Now, if you've got something on your mind, you're fuming or you're really sad or whatever, just start pouring it out. Just get it on the page. Who cares, right? But if you're not particularly going through anything at the moment, yes, start with writing about those things that you're grateful for. Then you want to, go ahead and vent your emotions. Whatever's on your mind, good, bad, indifferent. And just talk about what's going on in your life, how you feel about it. And then if you're having any issues or problems, start talking about those and start brainstorming. Sometimes we come up with ideas. I find I tend to come up with everything great and fantastic idea right before I go to sleep. And then I say, I'll remember that. Then I go to sleep and in the morning can't remember anything. So if you're like me, you get really creative at night. I mean, you come up with all kinds of emails and stories and just fantastical things. And then you wake up and you're like, yeah. If that's you, get that down in your journal before you go to bed. Just write it down, whatever. And particularly if you have new ideas like for a business or an invention, just jot it down. You don't have to get detailed. It's just getting it onto the page. If you work a job that's very stressful and you have a ton of things that you have to remember and you're having trouble falling asleep, just write that down, what you've got to do the next day, so that it's out of your head and on the paper. And now you no longer have to worry about whether or not you're going to remember it. Now, do I recommend that you write your work list of things to do in your journal? No, but if you don't have that second sheet of paper there and you cannot rest your mind, then by all means, just write it there. You can just, take a picture of it with your phone and be on your way to work the next day. So, why is journaling so beneficial? Well, there's something very therapeutic about getting our thoughts out onto paper and then reading through it and then processing it. It just allows us and helps us to process through our thoughts and feelings and emotions. When we keep things bottled in and we don't maybe talk to a person or write it down, and 9 times out of 10, we need to do both. Talk to a trustworthy, mature, discreet friend or professional, and write those thoughts down that we're dealing with to work through them on our own. If we don't do that, if we don't get it out of we can't process it, we can't work through it, and then we get what we like. I'm sure you've heard the expression, we get stuck. We get stuck in bitterness or stuck in anger or stuck in sadness, and we can't seem to move on. We can't move forward. It's because you're still hanging on to those emotions and you're still in that same spot. Now, not saying that journaling is going to be the end-all be-all cure, but it's absolutely something that if you implement into your daily routine, specifically, like I said, at night, it is something that is going to yield you a great deal of benefit. So if you journal, feel free to share your tips and tricks, as it were, in the comments below. Or if you'd like some additional suggestions on how to get started or what things to include, feel free to ask, or you can send me a direct message. Also, if you'd like to get a copy of my signature 6-step process to how to get what you want, it's how I achieve all my goals, please visit my website at CoachJamila.com. Just fill out the little subscribe box and I'll email that PDF over to you and you can start figuring out how to get what you want. But anyway, thank you for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe. And I hope that this has been beneficial to you when it comes to implementing journaling into your daily routine.